Hello everyone, I'm Steve DeWinter. Welcome again to another ODNT Spotlight. And today we have visionary fantasy and paranormal fiction author Denice Garrou with us. Garrou, And she's here promoting her latest book coming out October 28th. Her first book in the Avion Book of Secrets series, Candlelight and Cobwebs. What a neat name that is. And I really like the cover here. She says that she makes a few more tweaks to the cover, but this is pretty close to end. So let's go ahead and let's switch on over to Denice. Hello, Denice. Welcome to ODNT Spotlight.
Well, hey, Steve. Great for having me here. I just love to do these things. These are just so much fun.
Excellent. Cool. All right. So we're here talking to you about your new series that's coming out in October, Candlelights and Cobwebs. What was your inspiration for writing that series?
Well, after I got done doing Dragon Horse, first two books, The Dragon Horse, it was based upon my life and my experiences, and I really needed a break. So I decided, let's do something kind of fun and something light, maybe a little romance, and I kept telling my daughter when she was in college, she rescued a little kitten out in the dumpster, and he just grew up to be the coolest cat. And I kept telling her, it's like a man in a cat suit you got there. And I kept telling her, you need to write down, keep a journal about him, So I decided, well, if she's not going to do it, I'll do it. So it's like, okay, what can I do with this story? So it started out being a story about this little cat that was a man in a cat suit. And, it just ended up getting much, much bigger. And so I'm going to have to go into another book.
Well, go ahead and...
So pretty much
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is you.
That was pretty much my daughter's cat. Yeah, my daughter's cat.
Nice. So what is the story about?
Well, it's kind of interesting because there's a really cool town that's about an hour and a half from where I live, and it's up higher in the mountains in Colorado Springs, and it's called Manitou Springs, and it's a really old town, and it's probably one of the most haunted little towns in the state of Colorado.
Ooh.
And I just love the history, and because this book has a little bit of a Halloween theme to it, I thought, what better setting than Manitou Springs, Colorado? And so the book starts out with this woman. She lives in upstate New York, and she trains horses. Yes, horses, of course. I have to have horses and everything.
There's a little bit of you in there.
But her mother dies and leaves her this huge estate in Manitou Springs, Colorado, a family that she never knew she had. So she packs everything up, moves to Manitou Springs, Colorado, and the first moment she walks on the front steps of this grand estate, she's hit with deja vus and visions and just all kinds of paranormal things. And upon a few days after she's in this huge mansion, there's this huge library, and she loves to read, and of course, all the very best books are usually at the top row of the library. So one night she goes up there and she sees a row of books, which actually is a secret door, and she finds this huge book of secrets. It's like her great grandmother's diary.
Oh.
And so when she takes this down, she starts reading this diary. It takes her back to her grandmother's life during 1918, and then even further back to 335 Delphi, Greece. So we get into the oracles of Delphi.
Oh, neat. And for those of you watching, today's ODNT Spotlight is a banner episode. It is being beamed to space. and then returning back to Earth. So if there's a slight delay when I ask a question before she answers, we have to wait till it goes into low Earth orbit and returns. So this is exciting for me.
Yeah, that's what happens when you live out in the boonies like I do.
But modern technology is awesome. So I really like the concept of... The what?
Well, for the most part.
Yeah.
Technology.
It's getting there. It's getting there. But I really like the concept you have of going all the way back to the Oracle of Delphi. I used her in a couple of my stories too, and it's just so much fun to go back to that time when people really were focused on the mystical and things outside of what we can see and everything. And that seems to, I was looking through for your Dragon Horse Saga, for Candlelight and Cobwebs, that seems to play a large part in your stories. You really focus on the supernatural elements, the things beyond the physical, scientific, trackable stuff.
Well, right. And when I started writing this book, sometimes I tell people I channel a lot of what I get. And I know a lot of authors will agree, and you write something and you go back and read it and you go, well, I didn't write that. Who wrote that? It just doesn't sound like it, so, but I've always been fascinated by the oracles. And, they reigned for 1,200 years. And the history of them is just so fascinating. And, when the first oracle started, she was actually speaking for Gaia. She was actually speaking the word of the goddess. But men, they have to get their hands into everything. She wasn't making enough money, so let's overthrow the goddess and let's bring in the god Apollo, So, and then when, of course, priests came in and they had to, throw their 2 cents in worth of everything, But I thought the most fascinating thing about it was during the 1918, during that period, and that was when there was this resurgence in the oracles, and so all of these countries were vying for the first ones to really find out her true history, and I just laugh because still today a lot of them think that her special powers was the fact that she was getting high.
Right, from the crack in the ground and vapors coming up from down below.
Yeah. Right, which I don't believe for a minute, but, and of course, that's where laughing gas came from. That's laughing gas, nitrous oxide, used to be a party favor during the late 1800s, the early 1900s.
Oh.
So when they were doing they're trying to figure out what made the oracles high, they found this nitrous oxide, and it became a party favorite. But at least it helped us into the dentist, So at least the dentist picked it up and they used it for something, better than that.
There you go. The big dentist convention must have been a hoot until they realized, wait a minute, we should probably use this for something good.
Right. But. In this story, because it continues and it goes beyond the oracles of Delphi, I'm going to be getting into the time when I go to the lost Jordanian city of Petra. So that will be in the second book.
Oh.
And I just thought Petra, Petra was, this is pre-Christianity, I thought Petra was, city that's carved out of red rock. You can't get much better than that.
No,
But, and then I thought maybe, King Solomon was starting to come into the picture. So it's like, King Solomon and his magic ring and all the sigils that he had the first grimoire, King Solomon, who'd have thunk it? He had one of the first grimoires, so he had the first magic book. So I just thought, oh, we have to go there too.
Absolutely.
And then I always turn, yeah, it does. And I'm sure you feel the same thing, when you were writing about the Oracle. Wasn't it kind of like a journey of self-discovery?
It was very interesting. As I sit there and I look at what everyone believed at that time and everything, which is so different than what we think is the real world now and the real world back then, and the things that they had access to and the knowledge that they had. And we're like, well, how did they know that? They didn't have the internet.
Right. Yeah. But it is. It's just funny how that time kind of fits in with what we're all learning about now. Before, she just got high. But, we're all learning that it's a little bit something different than that. And, a lot of people like me talk about, we're returning to the balance, male and female energies are coming to the balance. And, a lot of us call return to the goddess, So this book, it's the story touches a little bit on that, where women are learning to reclaim their power, which we need. I mean, we're pretty much a patriarchal society right now, and
yes,
I just think we need that balance.
Uh-huh. Yes, definitely a very patriarchal society.
Yeah, so it's kind of like we have to wake the women up a little bit, because the goddess is still living inside the woman. She's just got to let her out.
She needs to be released.
Right.
And we don't need laughing gas or to chew on any kind of leaf to do it. We just need to know.
No. No. Right. So that's one of the premises of this book. And like I said, it started out being a story about a little black cat, and and I can't really divulge what the black cat actually has to do with the story, because if I do, it will be a spoiler alert.
Oh no spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
Book's not out yet.
No spoilers. But the cat people, you're gonna love this book.
All right. And it sounds like especially with a title like Candlelight and Cobwebs, and it's releasing right there at Halloween time. Is it really is it more of a horror type supernatural, or is it just set around that time period?
It's not a horror, Halloween is more, it's when the veils between the worlds are the thinnest. So, it's, the ancients, they used that time of the year to, slaughter their animals that they couldn't support through the winter. So, they honored that time, and they harvested their crops, and they slaughtered their animals, which was very sacred to them. But also, it's, you got the Hispanic, the Day of the Dead, which is November 1st and 2nd.
Right.
So, it deals with honoring those who have crossed before us. So, the veils between the worlds are thinnest. So it's a time when, if you want to, you can remember, and maybe some of us even talk to those who've gone over us. It's not, from the grave type of thing. It's not like that. But yeah, I gave it, everything happens around Halloween in the book. And Rosalind, who is one of the main characters, that time is going to be very profound for her, because she's going to be stepping into a different chapter of her life. And so she needs that time, when the stars are in alignment and the planets are in alignment and all that. She needs that time. So it's not a horror. It's kind of there's the romance, there's some humor. I mean, one of my characters that I just absolutely love, his name is Baylor Jameson, and he is like a gay Indiana Jones type. The women just love the heck out of him.
And he's not returning the favor.
No, he's not. And, and I also, So it's just, he's very interested in archaeology, which I need someone like that to move the story along, because we go back,
Right.
But then this is probably the scariest part of the story. And this guy inspired a character in the book. His name is Leonidas. And so he's in the book, and it's going to be really interesting to see what his story is. And he's not a scary, creepy guy. He's kind of got a sense of humor, but he comes from, back 334 BCE Delphi.
Right.
So he's Greek. So we think, anyways. And then I have another character in the book, and this is supposed to be a raven.
Yeah, I can see it.
So yeah. So but they're all really, the characters are a whole lot of fun. So yeah.
Excellent.
Sorry,
So,
horror fan.
yep. So it's not a horror, even though it comes out at Halloween. It's not your typical modern Hollywood Halloween. That's just the special time when the veils are close and things can cross over.
Right. Yeah, and I love Halloween anyways. It's my favorite time of the year.
That's always been my holiday. We have more Halloween decorations than Christmas decorations in our house.
I know. I start in August decorating for Halloween.
And we always do one big purchase every year.
Oh. Well, I don't do the scary, gory things. I like to collect pumpkins and so we got a lot of pumpkin-y things around the house, and I collect witches, but they're all kind of, they're not the creepy green face with the wart,
Hey.
So.
Excellent. And so you went and you got the bug to write Candlelight and Cobwebs before you finished book 3 of your Dragon Horse saga and everything. How do your fans of books 1 and 2 of your Dragon Horse saga feel about you abandoning them and going on to something else?
I know. I get this. Hurry up! I can't wait. Hurry up! I can't wait. And I did let a couple of my fans beta read Candlelight and Cobwebs, so now they're like, oh, well, hurry up and write book 2, Candlelight and Cobwebs, so, they got that in their minds right now. But, when I wrote the Dragon Horse Saga and I wrote the first 2 books, the first one, I hadn't actually lived the third one, so it was like that channeling thing. It's like, okay, take a break. There's a reason. So I actually wrote the first 100 pages to the third book of the Dragon Horse series, and then had to put it away because Candlelight and Cobwebs was just like it was taking all my brain space. And if you're dyslexic, it gets pretty tough to jumble both things, So.
Right.
Yeah, and then now with the our ascension energy coming in, we're supposed to have, I don't know if anybody remembers 2012,
Right.
but now is the time when we're supposed to really see the difference. So I think with that coming in, I can actually now really get going on book 3, which will probably delve into a lot of what's going to be happening now in our world energetically.
Excellent. You'll please a lot of fans with that. And they're all going to be upset because they're going to want book 2 of Candlelights and Cobwebs.
Right, right.
Now you can't win. Now you can't win.
I know, I got myself into trouble.
And then on top of that, you're also involved in an anthology. So you're writing even something else. And you're doing an anthology fundraiser for ataxia, which I just looked, and according to the internet, it's a loss of full control of bodily movements. So that does not sound fun. Body movement and balance are all affected. So congrats on getting into the anthology to help out for that fundraiser.
You know, when they asked me, it was like it was right up my alley because by trade I'm a healer, so I'm a Reiki master and I do herbs and certified herbalist. So when they asked me, it was like I'm supposed to do this.
Of course.
But I'm not. Anything I do is big, so it's like okay. It's supposed to be a daily devotional and inspirational, so it can't be a full-length book. And it's like I have to write a short story, but actually I'm so glad that they asked me. And the story, I just love the story. And it's about it's back in the early 1900s, and this little girl's like one of the first little girls to get polio. And of course, the kids in the town are afraid of her, because she has this disease. And she ends up making friends with, here we go again, another black cat. And
is it the same one?
No, well, no. But her whole summer changes when she finds out who actually owns this black cat. And it's just this gypsy woman in the woods that heals all the animals. And this little girl, meets this woman, and it just changes the whole town, changes the little girl, and it's a tearjerker. But it's a happy tearjerker.
That sounds so good. And again, a little bit of you in that story, some more.
Always, yes. I mean, why not? Why write anything different than something that you're interested in and you love?
So do you know?
But I think that one comes out.
You were about to answer my question.
I think it's the second week of November. But it's really easy for Facebook people who like to follow the Facebook parties. Just all you have to do is type in ataxia, and it's like the first Facebook page that comes up, and they can click on that and join that. So there's going to be a lot. There's two books that they're going to be releasing. So there's a lot of authors that shared.
Excellent. And also you're going to mention it on your Facebook page, and I will include in the description below. If you're watching this embedded in another video, just click on the button that says watch on YouTube, and you can then see all the description below, and I will have Denice's Facebook page there, so you can connect with Denice on Facebook as well as her website. And that way you can find out when that anthology comes out, because boy, that story sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, there's going to be, some people are going to share poetry, some people are going to share essays, some people are going to share how to deal with depression. So there's going to be a very large array of things, and all the proceeds, of course, are going to go to the ataxia, help raising funds for ataxia.
Excellent. And you and I got connected because we're both involved in a virtual fantasy con, which is going to be a Facebook, a 7-day or 8-day, November 1st through 8th, an 8-day fantasy convention online. So we got people from all over the world, and so that enabled me to get connected with you for this interview. So tell me a little bit about what you're going to be doing for FantasyCon.
Well, it all started with Carol March and I helped her do one of her very large book parties, and we got to be friends, and I introduced her to my foreign rights agent. And my foreign rights agent said, fantasy is just really hard to push. And, we're like, oh, we got to figure out a way to promote fantasy and help all these fantasy genre authors. And so we started talking, and then I started talking to Raven Williams, who also got involved. And Carol was just like, what is a conference. I'm not really sure what that is. So Raven and I had to tell her what it was. And then as soon as she got it in her head, she was like, oh my gosh, we have to do this. We just have to do this. So, it's a huge undertaking, and, dealing with a bunch of people and everybody's visions and what they see for this event and how they want it to go. It's been a little difficult, especially when you do it online. It's not like we're sitting face to face, but yeah, it's going to be 8 days, and each day will showcase one genre, from steampunk to fairy tales to urban fantasy, sci-fi fantasy. We're going to hit them all. And so we thought, well, okay, this is online. It's got to be different than a regular book party. What else can we do? And I got this big bright idea. Hey, let's get cosplayers involved. We're hitting the cosplayer community, and we're going to have daily contests, and cosplayers are welcome to come in and post a picture or maybe a 1-minute video of them in their costume. And we'll have a daily award, and I think we're going to have a grand prize award for the cosplayers. But, we decided to include, the bloggers, so some of the bloggers will be there showcasing, what they do, because they promote us a lot. And then we're going to have some fantasy artists. And so, especially those who, want to do some illustrations or, so we got a little bit of everything going. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Of course, we're going to do the author panels, which is my end of the woods. I and 3 other authors we're going to get together and start doing topics of discussion. And then we'll have, 5 other authors join in, and then we'll be uploading maybe 3 panels each day.
Wow.
And so people can listen to what all these authors have to say on various topics. So it's going to be really interesting. It's been hard because we're all I think every one of us are releasing books right now. So yeah, it's been huge.
Yeah, I know. I have a book coming out the first week in November, right when the whole thing is starting. And at the same time, I told Carol, I said, put the call out for Spotlight interview, and the call went out yesterday, and I'm flooded. All of a sudden, I'm very busy.
Yeah, see, you did what we all did. We just overextended ourselves. But thank you so much for doing that. I mean, this is just great.
Oh, yeah.
Exposure, and that's what it's all about. We all need that exposure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
now we get to use the power of YouTube to do it.
Right.
All right. So, is there anything else before we wind down the interview here you would like your potential readers or your fans, your number 1 fans, or anybody that's watching the video to know?
If once they get onto my Facebook page, my banner has the date of my release party for Candlelight and Cobwebs, and I'm going to be releasing with another author. So it's going to be a dual release bash.
Ooh.
And I'll be releasing Guy Donovan, and Guy Donovan used to be a artist for the Disney Corporation.
Ah.
And I read his first book, and he's really a good writer. He really is a good writer, and that's kind of like how he's part of the Virtual Fantasy Con team also, and I just felt drawn to read his book, and he's a dragon guy too. And so we're going to be releasing together, and it's just going to be 3 hours, and we'll have some games, and both of us uploaded the first chapter of the books that we're going to be releasing, and so if they want to go and learn more beforehand, they can just go to my Facebook page, and then they'll be able to see where it's called All Souls Night Duo Book Bash.
Nice.
Right in with the theme of the Halloween season.
Excellent.
But yeah, but I think that's about it. Yeah.
All right, so I urge everyone to go and click down on the Facebook page and go check out the release party that she's got coming up and enjoy the games and fun and everything. So Denice, thank you so very much for coming on OD&T Spotlight and having the spotlight shined on you.
Thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate it. And thank you for helping us out with the Virtual Fantasy Con.
Oh, of course. It's my pleasure. So go ahead and hang on the line. Don't disconnect on me just yet. I'm going to go ahead and close down the interview for everybody watching, and then I'll come back to you and we'll chat for a couple more minutes. So thank you very much. I'll see you in just a moment. All right. So, hey, this has been our interview with Denice Garrou and her latest book coming out, Candlelight and Cobwebs, Avion Book of Secrets Volume 1. And this has been a fun interview and a banner moment for OD&T Spotlight, where the interview was beamed into space first and then back down to me. So this has been very exciting for me for that. And don't forget to check out all the interviews that we have going on. We've got artists, actors, authors, just about anybody and everybody who will be on my show. I'm going to have them on my show, and I'm going to have an awful lot coming on soon. A lot of the people from FantasyCon have been contacting me to get on the show, so we're going to have a lot more exciting and interesting interviews for you. So don't forget to subscribe to the OD&T channel so that you can be informed when those interviews come out. So thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.